Hey cats, it's Ed Midsole Bud here. Today I'm taking a look at some of my most anticipated running shoes for 2024, which are the models that I really want to test out more than any other. We got marshmallow midsoles, outrageous outsoles, top footwear testing list for this year. Let's get to it. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Do hit that subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a super thanks as well if you want to help support the channel on a more ad hoc basis. Dankeschön. First one up is a shoe that a viewer has pointed out to me that they found over on Reddit. It's from the Huge Beasts Puma, and it appears to be a real model here titled the Mag Max Nitro. I guess that's a nod to Mad Max perhaps. There's certainly a huge stack here. Well, is it going to be all Puma Nitro Elite foam, or is it going to be like two sections, maybe one on the top with Nitro Elite and one on the bottom with just standard Nitro? Either way, I mean, it's going to be incredibly soft. I'm speculating a little bit here because this is all we've got to go on right now. If it is all Elite foam there, I bet the shoe might need some type of stabilizing element within it. Even if Nitro is going to be on that bottom section there, it's still going to be a very compressive ride. The Nitro foams that Puma utilize are really soft. There's some real nice return to them as well, and Nitro Elite is just outright one of my favourite foams that is used amongst all shoes right now. I utilised the new Fast Star Nitro Elite 2 the other day at a local half marathon race, and I have to say it was an exceptionally good ride. This could be an incredibly forgiving ride though, perhaps a little bit more on the weighty side. Maybe this is Puma's attempt at something like the Super Blast. If this is all Nitro Elite foam, I would be quite amazed that Puma are doing a full slab of this stack height. And they've also utilised quite a lot up and around the back of the shoe there. That's quite un-Puma-like. They don't tend to be too overzealous with the foam around the heel area. I think one giveaway though that this is a trainer rather than a racer is on the outsole. If you look at that bottom section of the heel, the tread is quite significant, so perhaps a little bit different to Puma's standard race lineup, where the lugs are a little bit more shallow. So I think this is more a trainer in the sort of Prime X type category. Be very interesting to see when this one drops. It looks like it could be coming out this year. So the Puma Mag Max Nitro, top of the list. Another shoe that's really caught my eye that I really want to test this year is the Nike Pegasus Turbo 4. This looks to be a reimagining of the classic Pegasus Turbo shoe from way back. The React and Zoom X combo is one that many fans have called for to be brought back. I'm pretty sure that this new version of the shoe isn't going to feature React though. If it is a dual sort of layer shoe, I would assume it uses Zoom X and SRO2 just to make it a bit softer, similar to what we've seen in the Zoomfly 5 or perhaps the Vomero 17. Interesting people are referring to this as the Pegasus Turbo 4. I guess we kind of had a 3 with the release of that Pegasus Turbo Next Nature, though it really didn't have anything in common with the Pegasus Turbo shoes that we all loved from before, and I don't really think that that Pegasus Turbo Next Nature was all that turbo in fairness. This could be a return to form though, with a touch more stack than the Streakfly and proper Zoom X foam this time round rather than the last Peg Turbo. I mean, it's either going to be an absolute banger and everything that everybody wanted, or perhaps the shoe that should have been released a few years ago that Nike just didn't make. And of course everything's moved forward a little bit. Maybe it's going to be left behind. I hope we got a more trainer-like price this time round though. Those that picked up the original Pegasus 35 Turbo will remember that it was quite a pricey option. I would assume this time round it'll be more of a Hyperion Max kind of price. Around about 140 quid, I think people will be able to go for that. If they price it any higher, it will be too close to that very chunky Invincible Run 3. That's what we want, Nike, a low weight option that's reasonably priced, somewhere in the middle in terms of stack. So Pegasus Turbo 4, certainly on my shoe-dar. A lot of you will notice some images that have come from the US Olympic marathon trials. Several top tier athletes using what appears to be the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3. That has got to be up there on my top list for testing. Athletes running some sensational times at those recent trials is clearly going to be a standout shoe if it's been selected by people like that. Puma have got an amazing roster of athletes right now. Some young, some very experienced. Athletes finishing in first and third places in in the women's section there using the Deviate Nitro Elite 3. Appears to have a maxed out stack of Elite foam this time round in the heel. We're certainly in the same kind of zone as a lot of those other super shoes. And what's not to like about that? More of that Nitro Elite foam is only a good thing. I guess some people said, oh, it wasn't quite enough in the Deviate Nitro Elite 2. That works superbly well for me at the Manchester Half Marathon back in October of last year. That was like my second fastest half marathon race time wearing those Puma shoes, so that says it all really. And that was perhaps with not the best training or preparation from that race either. I will say, if it is the same Nitro Elite compound that we've got in the Fast R Nitro Elite 2, then we're in for a real treat. I do think that that one is perhaps a little softer, just a touch softer than before, with some wild energy return. And it puts the Fast R Nitro Elite 2 right up there with any of Nike's releases in my humble opinion. Puma are producing some superb models over recent years, and appears they aren't making too many changes here just for change's sake. Very similar upper by all accounts to the existing version, and that's no letdown at all because the Deviate Nitro Elite 2 was one of the best fitting uppers for me from last year. So top of my list there, the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3. No idea on a release for this one, but I would be astounded if it didn't appear in the next few months, right in time for the Olympics in July of 2024. Okay, what's the last shoe up on my list today? Gotta be the AlphaFly 3. Yes, I know that this shoe's been out for a few weeks now. Well, if you were lucky enough to get a pair, which I wasn't. I have tried out the last two versions of this shoe, so I'm very curious to see whether it really lives up to all the hype. One of the interesting things about this shoe, certainly in terms of all the reviews that have been put out so far, many of the reviewers have had the shoes sent over to them. Now, I'm not saying that that is a surefire way of knowing that they're just saying good things about the shoe because, you know, they want more shoes. One review sticks out though, and that's from Tim Gross. I really trust Tim's reviews. He's a very experienced runner. He knows a lot about shoes. And I also like his reviews for the fact that he's on that sort of top area of sizing. I'm up there too at an 11 or 11.5. And when you start getting larger size shoes, sometimes the scaling of all the materials there just means the shoe isn't quite what it is perhaps for the sample size. It just doesn't seem to work if you're a very tall or perhaps a lighter runner as well. I found the AlphaFly original to be fantastic. It really worked for me, but the AlphaFly 2 was just, yeah, really disappointing. Very clunky offering. Will it be that the AlphaFly 3 suffers again from that weight penalty? The higher sizes just make it feel a little bit more dead. Will I be able to put enough sort of punch and power into those AirPods to get enough out of them to make it worthwhile? Looking back through race results, one of the fastest half marathons I've done was wearing the original AlphaFlies at the Salisbury half marathon. That was like 1 hour 32. I never bothered racing in the AlphaFly 2. It just didn't really feel that inspiring. This new model though seems to have removed some of those issues and problems that I found in the AlphaFly 2, perhaps getting a little bit closer to that first version. I'd be very keen to see what I can do on a nice flat course wearing the AlphaFly 3. It does seem to lower the heart rate a little bit, or at least the perceived effort. It's certainly quite impressive heart rate when I ran in the AlphaFly originals at Salisbury. Really consistent pace as well on that one. I have managed to source a pair of the AlphaFly 3s. Somebody bought a couple of different pairs and went with a certain size, and they've got my size and I've never used them, so I've managed to get them. And I haven't paid too much over retail either, which is great. The seller didn't want to mess around with these sort of resale sites and stuff, so yeah, it's good to strike a deal, and they should be with me very soon. Now, you could say to me, Ed, why didn't you wait for the next release of the AlphaFly 3? I've got to say that that abomination colorway is not going near my feet. Just look at the print on the back of the shoe. It just looks really shoddy. The proto colorway is just a million times better looking than this one. And if I'm gonna spend that sort of money, I want the shoe that looks good too. So it's a bit of a Wayne's World. She will be mine, oh yes, she will be mine. I knew I'd probably buckle in the end, but I had to find somebody with the right size. I think the hype's died down a little bit as well, so it's time to stick my review out there in the next couple of weeks. As a man who's spent his hard-earned Earth credits on a pair, do they really live up to the hype? Will I be crying with joy at the sheer fun of wearing the AlphaFly 3, or will I be crying and wondering why I bothered? So that's my top shoes to test so far in 2024. It's a models that I'm very excited to get on foot and give them a whirl and give you my thoughts and opinions. Which shoes would make your list right now in terms of ones you really want to get your hands on and feet into? Let me know down in the comments. Very quick musical interlude for you. I actually dug out the album today to show you. I managed to get this, which is in mint condition in terms of the vinyl. The cover's a bit torn and stuff. Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison. I managed to pick this one up for £1 at a charity shop. Incredible stuff. There he is. The autofocus is good enough to get Johnny there as well. There, he looks great there. What a quiff. There's some cracking tunes on this one. I think at some point they had to tell Johnny to stop playing some of these tracks as it's live in a prison, basically, a live concert that were going to upset the prisoners too much, but I think he just carried on anyway. I mean, got the long black veil, dark as the dungeon. But it's not all sort of morose stuff. I particularly love the track I Got Stripes. You got Folsom Prison Blues, obviously, because he's in Folsom Prison. But my favourite by a long way is Orange Blossom Special, all about this train. It is absolutely fantastic. Brilliant harmonica playing as well. It sounds like he's switching harmonicas from one key to another. Everything about this album is wonderful. If you've never heard Folsom Prison or perhaps the San Quentin album as well, they're both worth checking out. Just musicians playing together, no extra takes or overdubs, anything like that. Go and check it out, people. Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison. Thanks for tuning in. It's always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. My name's Eddbud and I'll be seeing you